people! Today we're going to be doing this Gnome for the Holidays set. The first of the Christmas sets this year, so let's start. I'm going to be using mostly Beetles today for the polishes. And we're going to be going in with a base of white. Before I forget, this set took me about 2 hours to do. I seem to be forgetting to tell you guys that lately. If you ever want to know and I haven't told you, it's always going to be in the description now. So there's that. Surprisingly, I have never done a set of Christmas light nails, so this is why this is where this one came from. I decided it's about time I should do some. I like to have a big variety of styles and whatnot on my website. Okay, we've cured that. We're going in with the second coat now. I mean, I want to try to have something for everybody. So that's why I don't have a certain style that I have for just my stuff. I like to try new things all the time and just play around with stuff. As you guys have seen, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But anyways, moving on, we're almost done with these, and then we'll be curing this again. And cured, there they are. Now I'm also putting a layer of this hollow glitter. Now I wanted a thin layer of this. Now the first couple nails I do, it kind of got on there more than I wanted. So I kind of was trying to brush some of it off. I just wanted a nice thin layer of this hollow glitter in the background to give them a little bit of sparkle. As I went along and I had less on my the brush there, it was giving me a better look that I was going for here. Gotta have a little bit of sparkle at least on there somewhere. Okay, and we'll be curing that. And now we're ready to start on the gnome. And I'm painting him with Beetles colors. Starting with the green. This will be the hat. Then we have a little bit of a nude. A pinky nude. That will be for the nose. And then the white that we just used as the base, I will be painting the hat details with that. The furry bits. Oh yeah, and the beard. How could I forget the beard? Okay. Ready to go. Detailer brush. And off we go. I did not paint him in like an outline this time. I just decided to go for it because he seemed pretty simple. So we just winged it. Starting off with these hat. I hope y'all had a good holiday, Thanksgiving holiday. We had a full house here at our place. I think that's probably got to be the most people we've ever had at our house at one time. We had, well, there's supposed to be 10, but we ended up with 8. Because a couple were no-shows, but they snoozed and they loosed. We had a very good dinner. Everything came out nice. So that is done and over with. Now I gotta focus on Christmas. I swear it seems like we just had Christmas and now we're back here again. Now we've got the hat outline on, so we're just going to fill it in now. guess I'm not feeling very chatty today. Sorry about that. My back is, I don't know what I did to my back yesterday, but it's gone out or something. There's a pinched nerve. Something's going on in there. So, frankly, I slept or stayed in bed for pretty much this whole day up till almost 3 o'clock. So, like I said, I don't know what I did to it, but it's not been a happy camper all day today. Now, I've cured that hat before I'm moving on to the white parts now. And we're just going to paint the fur, the little fur edge at the bottom, and then the pom-pom. I guess it's just part of the joys of getting old. Just have things hurting on a regular basis. But what are you going to do? You just have to power through and carry on. Okay, we got the furry bit there. Now we got to do the pom-pom. Nope, I'm still fooling around with this down here. Decided that needed to be a little wider. Now I am going a little bit thicker with this white, which usually is a no-no. But I know that the Beetles white is not as opaque as some of the others that I've used, so I felt like I could get away with it. But I will put that into cure next. And he's back. And now we're going to get the beard on. Oh no, we're doing the nose next. I'm just going to give him a fat little nose sticking out of there. A little round, kind of half roundy nose. And I'm also going heavy with this color because I wanted the nose to stick out somewhat. And I will be doing a second coat for the nose, so it will be raised a bit more. That's cured, and we're going to go over him again. Make sure he has a nice little roundy nose, and I'll cure that again. And now we just got to get the beard, the base of the beard on here. I'll use the detailer brush to outline along the top there so I don't make a mess of the stuff I've already done. And then we'll transfer over to the bottle brush to fill the bulk of it in, because otherwise I would have been there forever painting that all in with the detailer brush. Okay, we're just going to fill this in. This will go quickly now. Okay, we'll cure him and then we'll be ready to move on. The rest of him we'll finish at the end. We're going to have black gel paint, which we're going to use for all the strings for the lights. Now I wanted the lights that were going to be on this one to kind of be wrapped around his hat, like he's getting tangled up in them. So you're kind of seeing me in my head right now trying to map out what I want to do on there. Now this first little bit, the string's got to be a little thicker than I really wanted, but on we went anyway. And this one will come around the front of his hat, and then we need to go out past the hat a little bit, and then we make a little, like a U. We're doing a U-turn here now. Now I thought about doing my gnome hat in purple, just because it's my favorite color, but it didn't seem that Christmassy, and I didn't want to use red because it seems like everybody's doing red. So we went with the green. Plus another reason I didn't want to do the purple was because I didn't want to add too many different colors in here when I already was going to have a bunch of them for the lights and stuff. So we've made the loop around the hat. Now we're going to go back across the bottom of it and off the other edge on that other side there. And then we'll move on to the next one. Now when I start doing the nails on either side of this guy, because he's on the middle finger, I tried to start my light string like at the place where it left off on you know, the adjacent nail, so that it looked like it was, you know, if you put them all together, it should look like they all connect. I was not fully successful on some of them, but I tried my best. There's not really going to be a good shot to see where they're all lined up together, except for maybe at the very end where I show the finished set on the nail stands, but they're not touching each other, so you kind of lose the illusion a little bit. And I'm just, obviously you can see I'm just winging it with these strings. I'm not pre-drawing anything on. Now I have sped up this section, this last section now, where I'm painting the strings on, because it's all basically the same. And it did take me a while. So, not that long, but some. I kind of wanted to have a little loopy bit on each nail too, because I just like the way it looked better. And I also tried to make all of them different, so they weren't all exactly the same. One didn't have a whole lot on it, but just a little. This one needs to be smoothed out. I'm seeing all the little blobby bits from where I did not like that part. Where I have gotten new paint and it's thicker on my brush, you get like a little bit of like a knobby thing there, so you can see them right there where I crossed over. So hopefully, yes, okay, I spread them back out so they don't look so bad. And here's where we are so far. I will cure those now. Now we're going to move on to using these gel glaze colors for the light glow. We're going to use these for the light bulbs and the glow, but right now we're going to do the glow because that has to be first. So I'm going to use a little blooming gel, and I'm going to put a very, very thin coat on these. You're seeing me go over them kind of a lot because I am, whoopsie, there goes one, because I'm trying to make sure I don't get too much and keep it nice and thin. Put that guy back on there, and okay, now I'm only going to put the blooming gel on the top half of this gnome where the light string is. No point in putting it on the bottom part and making it bulkier. And then the rest of them. Now when we're going to be putting the glow of the lights on, we want to be working quickly because I'm going to do the whole rack at one time. So now in hindsight, I should have started with the darker colors first and ended with the yellow. Because the darker, like the blue and the red, they took longer to bloom, and I put those at the end, so then my first colors bloomed out a little more than I wanted. So if I do this again, that's the way I would do it, but otherwise we're just going to we'll be using a dotting tool, all four of these colors. Okay, there's the dotting tool. It's kind of a smallish one. Now I'm just going to take the colors and I'm just going to dot them along the string where I want that color light to be. And as I said, I tried to work fairly quickly because I didn't want the first ones to bloom out to the point where you can't see the color anymore. They get so diffused you can't see it. So we'll just go along and dot these on where I want those light colors. And clean the dotting tool in between the colors, obviously. And moving on to green. I was trying also not to get too much on there. And a little bit on the bottom of that one. Okay, moving on. Now as we get back to the beginning, you'll see how much that yellow has bloomed out. And this one and the red were much darker pigmented, so I should have done them first. Because the yellow could have done with a little less bloom. And then we just have the red. The red seemed to be like have the most pigment out of all of them, so now I did put one on there. You can't really tell that it's red. I probably should have just not put any on that where it crossed over the hat because they don't show up anyway very well. And one more up there. Now as you can see, the red is not blooming out very fast. And I didn't want to let it sit here too much longer because then the other colors would have been, the green and yellow would have been really dispersed worse than they already are. So I did fill around with this a little bit to try to get it to spread out faster before I threw it into cure. And now we're back out, and now we're going to paint the bulbs on. So we're using the same gel colors, and we're just going to paint a bulb where the color is, where the glowy part is. Just going to paint the bulb in. Now basically I'm just painting like a leaf shape for the most part. Now my original plan was just to paint these bulbs on here, but you can see there's not much of a glow left around the yellow ones because it dispersed a lot. But I'm putting these on rather thickly because I didn't want to have to do 2 coats. Now my plan was to just paint these on there and they'd be nice with the glow around them and everything be cool, but by the time I got them painted on there, they weren't reading as lights very well. The shape of the light bulb was not reading very well. So what I'm going to be doing, which I wasn't in my original plan, but I decided then they needed to be outlined so they showed up better, which I will get to after I get all of them painted. I mean, they don't look too bad as I'm looking at them now, but I know when I saw them after they were cured for some reason, that they weren't reading very well. And I am going to cure these each nail as I go along because I was afraid that the glaze gel was going to spread out too much and start to spread a little as polish does, because this is not gel paint, obviously, which that will hold its shape and stay where you put it. Where if you're painting with polish or like this glaze, which is basically a thinned down version of the polish with less pigment, it will start to spread a little on you. It won't hold its shape perfectly, and I was afraid of that happening, so that's why I decided I was going to cure each one as I went along. And that one's ready to go in. Now I believe I cured them for 90 seconds just because I wanted to make sure they cured all the way through because they were a little bit on the thicker side. And I'm going to show painting of this one, and I think that's all I'm going to show of painting of the lights because it's all the same on all of them. Boy, I really don't have a lot to say today, do I? I don't know why. Just on a side note that is not nail related, I've started doing proofreading now for my daughter's an author, which I probably mentioned before, but I was starting to do proofreading for her, and then she's going to hook me up with some of her author friends so I can do their proofreading, which I will be using as a source of income, considering I'm not selling any nails hardly. And then this happened, you guys. I was putting the pot lids back on all these gel glazes, and that one got knocked over. I thought I just bumped it, and I didn't pay attention, and the whole pot got flipped totally upside down. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so this is when I had decided they weren't reading very well. Then I decided they needed to be outlined, so that's what I ended up doing. Now I'm using the same gel paint I used for the strings for this part. I tried to keep my lines nice and thin because I didn't want the lines to be real heavy and overwhelming the light bulb. And they did okay for all the colors except for the yellow. The black outline seemed really dark and harsh, so you're going to see me wipe it off on these two after I first do them and redo the yellow ones because I wasn't happy with the way they looked. My lines got a bit too heavy on these. And especially with the yellow. The yellow was so much lighter that it showed up worse than I would have liked it to be. Once the outline is around these two, I'm noticing the glow from around them is not nearly as much as it was before. See, I should have left well enough alone on that one, but then I went around it again, and then it got too thick and dark, and I didn't like it. And we're going to clean the yellow ones off with just a lint-free wipe and some alcohol when we get to it. Got that one more blue one to paint. And now we're going to clean this off. in hopes that I can get thinner lines on there. Now these guys, once I got the black outline on there, I was not curing these as I went along. I did the whole rack and then cured them all at the same time. In case you were wondering. I like to save wear and tear on my nail lamp as much as possible. I'm already on my third lamp and I'm trying to make them last as long as I can because they're not, I mean, they're not super expensive, but they're not cheap either. At least the ones I've been buying. And once I get this one painted, I am going to cure this one, I think. Or did I cure it, or did I just hold it up? Well, my point is that I'm going to show you this one with the outline on it, and I'm going to show you one without it in comparison, and then you'll see the difference. It made a huge difference. Okay, I guess I did cure that one. Okay, here we go. There's the one on the right with no outline and the one with the outline. You see how it makes a big difference in how they read? You can't really see the bulbs on the others. So I finished painting them all. And now we're ready for top coat. Final top coat. This is my normal temper top coat I use. And we'll just get that on there. I tried not to get real heavy around the gnome part because we're going to be finishing off with embossing down on there, and I didn't want it to be real bulky, and I was trying not to lose the shape of the nose that was sticking up either. Okay, we'll cure that, and now we're ready for the final step, which is the embossing. Now I will go back in with white, the same white that I've been using, the Beetles white. Okay, I don't know what's happening. It's taking me forever to get myself going here. And we're just going over where we already painted the white furry bits. Now for the embossing of these furry bits, I'm going to be using embossing powder that has a very slight little bit of iridescence to it. Honestly, every time I'm recording, darn fools on their motorcycles and ATVs got to be going by. You guys have no idea how that aggravates me. Anyway, we're going to finish getting this furry bit on here. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to clean the bulk of that off of my brush, and then I'm just going to pull out little tiny bits all around the edges of those to give it that more furry look. I know you can't really see it there, it doesn't show up very well, but trust me, it's there. I just wanted it to have a little bit of that furry kind of look to it. And also we'll be doing the same thing on the brim of the hat where the white is down there. You're just making little teeny tiny bits. You can see it here now better because we're going over the darker. try to get them not all exactly the same, like try to get them like facing a little bit in different, different directions. Not all perfectly straight lines is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Now initially I wasn't going to do any across the middle, but then I decided you gotta have a little bit over the nose, just a tiny bit. Okay, now we're ready to get the embossing powder going here. This is the same one I've had now for several years. I got this at Michael's in the scrapbooking section. And as you can see, there's barely any of it's been used. I mean, this jar, this will last me for my rest of my life and still probably have a ton of it left over. Now I'm going to use the little scooper to get it on there this time instead of just pouring it like I do with acrylic powder. As you can see it has a little bit of iridescence to it. So far I've mostly used this for doing snowy stuff for winter ones, winter nails and snowflakes and the like, because I like that little bit of sparkle that it has. But I decided to use that for his hat because I wanted it to be a little different looking on the furry part than the little bit of embossing we're going to do on the beard. We're just going to scoop it on there, same as we always do with embossing. We're going to let it soak in, tap it off. And that guy, they'll be ready for curing. And they'll cure those for 2 minutes to make sure it cures all the way. And then we're just going to brush off the excess. And there we have the furry bits. And now we're going in for the beard. Now, I'm just going to paint some squiggly lines on here with the white polish. In hindsight, I wish I had used white gel paint and did much thinner lines and like more of them than what I ended up with, because this ended up being kind of stripy, which I wasn't totally crazy about. And the lines are a bit thicker than I would have liked, so you guys might want to do that if you're going to do these or do anything similar. Now this is just some cheap white acrylic powder. Now normally I'd be using clear, but since I have this white, I'm trying to use it up and I needed it to be really white as contrast for the beard. That's why I'm doing that. But clear will do the same thing. It just will be maybe not quite as white. And tap them off and cure again for 2 minutes. And here we are, all finished. Yay! If you like this set, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a like. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Saturday. And I hope to see you guys next time with more Christmas nails. That's it. Bye-bye.